Hey guys, what is up? It is Will coming at you with another Buddyfight video, and in this video we're going to be doing a deck profile, as you can see, for Messiah arms. So let's get right into it. So as our buddy, as you can tell, it's a little quote-unquote spicy tech. Holy Were Dragon, Were Dragon, however you say that. But the reason why I decided to make this the buddy is because I don't know if it's just how I have it built, but sometimes if I can't get the full combo with the Sieg Saber or Sieg Blade, I kind of am screwed the next turn, like on my opponents, if they try to rush me down. So this is a little extra protection, because when you buddy call it during the next turn, all damage you take is reduced by 5, which is super helpful. Basically saves you an extra turn. And also it has an ability when it attacks for the turn, all cards in your opponent's field gets minus 20,000 defense, which is very awesome. So very helpful in when you kind of just need to lay low and play defense for a turn. Plus it is good when you just want to push for game also, because it's got double attack. So next up we've got 4 copies of Seigfried, because in this version I built the Sieg Saber build. I do have another deck profile coming up with Sieg Blade, because I do feel like there's 2 different play styles, and one of them is, you might have heard of it already, but we will get into that in the next video that I will be recording. But so Seigfried, Seigfried and Sigurd both do the same thing. When they enter the field, they search for up to one item with Balmung or Sieg Saber, or Graham and Sieg Blade from your deck into hand and shuffle your deck. And then this one has, when it's in the soul of a Messiah arm, its crit cannot be reduced. So that's helpful, because this one's got 5 crit, so keep that damage going. So next we have Projection Shell Cadmus. There we go. And then it has its the check top 5, so you drop a Messiah arms from hand and pay a gauge, check top 5, put up to 2 Messiah arms with different names in your hand, and then the rest to the bottom of the deck. And this next part is very awesome that they put it in there. So then you can equip the Messiah arms item from your hand by paying its equip cost. So you can equip it, and then let's say you discard this next card right here, George. I'm gonna call him George. So his skill is an act. It's named, so it's a hard one per turn. But when he's dropped from hand, you can charge 2 gauge, gain 2 life. Then if you're equipped with a Messiah Arms item, you draw 2 cards. So use Cadmus to equip, check top 5 and equip the item, and then you immediately proc his skill, because his skill goes on standby. So it's a neat little combo, if you will. Next up there is Thrateona, however you say it. I'm not even gonna bother again. So he's like bread and butter for once you get your board set up, then you call him. So all cards with dragon in their attribute on your opponent's field, specifically opponent's field, because otherwise this would be useless. They get minus 5,000 power and defense, and during the attack phase of each player and final phase, abilities of all cards with dragon in their attribute. So next up is Thrateona, if that's how you say it. I'm not even gonna try. So all cards with dragon in their attribute on your opponent's field get minus 5,000 power and defense. And then this next skill, specifically if it was worded slightly differently, this card would be useless. But it says during each player's attack phase and final phase, nullify all abilities of cards with dragon in their attribute on your opponent's field specifically. So that's why this is a spicy tech, because you don't think of running a dragon in a dragon hate deck. So at least that's my thought on it. So it's got double attack, soul guard. It's good. It's good for aggro. And next up, we've got the items. So for items, we got 4 heroical armor Balmung. Messiah arms with this card in its soul cannot be destroyed or returned to hand by opponent's card effect, so it helps protect the souls of Seigfried and Balmung. And then it's got a counteract. If it's in the soul of a card with Sieg Saber in its card name, you can pay a life to stand it. which is very helpful because it's only got double attack, as you can see in the bottom right corner. But so for this, you put a projection shell Seigfried and a heroical armor Balmung on field into soul, and then pay 2 gauge. So kind of expensive, but with how much the deck kind of ramps, you kind of have enough gauge to do everything, and then you still have like 3-4 gauge to play around with. When this card attacks, nullify all abilities of up to 1 card with dragon in its attribute and place it into drop. So it's got a vanity husk effect targeting dragons, which is very fun when your opponent thinks they're gonna get you with Lost World, and then you just get rid of all their cards because they're all dimension dragons. So very spicy, and he's only got double attack, so with this triple. Next up for spells we have, oh, also before I forget, because I don't read the full card effect, it also has another skill. It's a counteract. When a card with dragon attribute on your opponent's field attacks, you can nullify the attack, and that's alone. So next up we have 2 Brethren Guards, spell nulls be good. And then after that, we've got 2 copies of Oswera Guard. So sometimes you can kind of get away with Oswera guarding your buddy because you don't necessarily need it on field. So being able to get rid of it with 2 Oswera Guards help. Next up, we've got 2 Great Spell Waiter Stat because, like I said, control, kind of prevent them from trying to aggro you. And so it's a good generic Legend World spell. Next is Elunid Ring, if that's how you say it, because I'm terrible at pronouncing stuff. So you counter nullify the attack, drop a hand card, so another target for George here. If you do, draw a card and gain a life, which is very helpful because then you're gaining 2 gauge, 3 life, and drawing 3 cards while you're nullifying the attack. So it allows you to potentially draw into some other answers for their plays. Next up, we have the Open Door of Fate. So it's cast, drop Messiah Arms from hand, so you can drop George again, and then you gain 2 gauge and draw 2 cards. Then if you have Messiah Arms equipped, draw an additional card, and it's once per turn. And that's a really strong draw spell because of its ability to combo with George. Because at that point you're gaining 4 gauge, 2 life, and drawing 5 cards off 2 cards, so you're getting a +3 in hand cards. So very strong draw spell. Next up is Resolve to Protect. So it's a counter, choose 1 of 3, stand Messiah Arms on the field. So if you use all 4, that's quadruple, not including the double attack, so that's 6 attacks, plus the Balmung in the soul. That's 7 attacks, I believe, if my math's right. And 8 if you're playing the Sieg Blade. So that's a lot. That helps just aggro out if you need to push for game. Or it also has reduced damage to 0 for the next attack. And its last skill is extra, like win harder, or like kind of seals the game in. So you choose a Messiah Arms on the field. So typically you're going to want to target your item because it's got 5 crit. And for this turn, if there's a card with dragon in its attribute on the opponent's field, cannot be nullified and its damage cannot be reduced. So it's a great finisher / aggressive card. It's just an all-around good card. I don't see why you wouldn't run it at 4 because it's versatile at best. And next up we have 4 copies of Blade of Determination because it's your pseudo shield until they decided to give us the promo Clear Slash because they decided to make it a promo. But so you cast it, place it in the soul of Messiah Arms. Again, optimal target is Sieg Saber. So if it's in the soul of Messiah Arms, abilities of all cards and souls on your opponent's field on your field cannot be nullified by your opponent's card effects. And it's a counteract if you're being attacked, and this card is in soul of Messiah Arms. You can pay a gauge, nullify the attack, and it's once per turn. That's why you run 4, because then you have 4 negates. So basically the plan is force them to link attack with this, then you go and use Clear Slash to pay a gauge to nullify the attack and basically hope to just make them pass. Next up is Dragoness Pressure. So it's basically a more specific Widerstead, because you pay gauge in life, so it's costs half of Widerstead. And it's a counter. Choose up to 3 cards in your opponent's field with Dragon and their attribute, and for this turn, chosen cards get minus 3,000 or 30,000 power and defense and minus 3 crit, which is super strong, and usually don't quote me on that, will shut down a turn. And again, it's just kind of helping you like make sure they can't get a chance to aggro you out, because that's a hard counter for the deck from what I've seen. But maybe that's just me not playing it properly, because I've been just really in the playtesting stage. And last but not least, we have Dragon Destruction Secret Art Ragna Flame. I kind of wish they would have referenced Leviathan, but I guess probably because they made it in its entire deck, probably not so good idea. So you can only cast this card if you have a Messiah Arms item with your field on your field and it has souls, and then you pay 2 gauge and you deal 1 damage to your opponent for each monster with Dragon in its attribute in your opponent's drop zone, and it can't be reduced. So basically what you do is you wait a turn or two, place their entire field in drop, hope something has a monster and soul with Dragon in attribute, and you just swing for a bunch of damage. Or you just swing, if they're not dead yet, you're going die harder card. So that is it for the deck profile. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about this specific deck profile, leave them down below. If you like the deck profile, if you kind of like how I went over this in area, please leave a like and show it some love. Subscribe if you want to see some more Buddyfight content. Like I said, I do have another deck profile for Messiah Arm building around the other item and monsters, so look forward to that. And that is all, folks. Peace out.